Market rates, he said, when I discovered new hires earning 50% more than my salary after 7 years of building their systems. This is business, not personal. Next morning, I arrived early and left something on the VP's chair. When he found it at 7 a.m., he immediately called an emergency meeting. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up 6 months to when everything still made sense. When I still believed loyalty meant something. When I thought family was family and work was work, and the two worlds existed in separate, manageable boxes. My name is Mitch Halperin. I'm 57 years old. Senior systems engineer at Falstone Data Logistics, a mid-sized firm in a tired New England town that used to build ships and now builds nothing but resentment. The kind of place where the factories closed 20 years ago and everyone's still angry about it. Where strip malls have more empty storefronts than occupied ones. Where people talk about leaving, but never do. I've been with Falstone for 7 years, built most of their internal infrastructure from scratch. Not the glamorous stuff, the boring, essential systems that keep a company running. Inventory tracking, data backup protocols, security patches, the digital plumbing nobody thinks about until it breaks. 7 years of 60-hour weeks. 7 years of being the guy they called at 2 a.m. when servers crashed. 7 years of documenting nothing because they never gave me time to document anything. 7 years of being indispensable, and apparently worth 50% less than kids fresh out of college. I found out by accident. Left my coffee in the break room, walked back to get it. Overheard Janet from HR talking to the new hire coordinator. "We're bringing in the DevOps team at 95 base," Janet said. 95,000. I made 63. My coffee tasted like rust after that. Everything did. I spent the rest of that day pulling up salary data. Not hacking, just using the access I already had. Turned out the entire new team was making between 90 and 110. Every single one of them. The VP of Operations, Gerald Stamford, had an open-door policy, which meant his door was always open and he was never available. I scheduled a meeting anyway, waited 3 days for a 15-minute slot. His office smelled like expensive cologne and leather furniture the company bought during the good years. Gerald looked like a man who'd never missed a meal or a tea time. 52 years old with the kind of tan that comes from Florida golf trips, not New England winters. "Mitch," he said, not looking up from his phone. "What can I do for you?" "I'd like to discuss compensation." That got his attention. He set the phone down, gave me the smile people give when they're about to say no but want you to feel good about it. Yes. Look, Mitch, I know the new hires are coming in at higher rates. That's just the market right now. Tech salaries have exploded. We have to stay competitive. I built everything they're going to work on. I understand that. And we value your contributions. But this is business, not personal. Market rates are what they are. So my rate should be adjusted to match the market. His smile tightened. It's not that simple. You're on a different salary track. Legacy employee, different structure. Different structure meaning I get paid less for knowing more. Meaning we have budget constraints. The new hires came from allocated growth budget. Your salary comes from operations. 2 different pots of money. I sat there tasting that iron flavor again. The one that means you're swallowing words that want to be screamed. So, nothing can be done. I'll see what I can do. Maybe we can look at a small increase during the next review cycle, but I can't make promises. The next review cycle was 8 months away. I stood up, shook his hand, thanked him for his time, and that's when I stopped being a loyal employee and started being something else. Funny, because the ulcer I got building your whole infrastructure felt pretty personal. I didn't say it out loud, just thought it, added it to the growing list of things I was thinking, but not saying. That night I went home to my apartment. Small place, 1 bedroom, clean but cramped. Divorced 12 years, amicable split, no drama. Linda and I just ran out of things to say to each other. She got the house, I got the freedom, fair trade. I made dinner, frozen pizza, ate it in front of the TV without tasting it. Went to bed at 10. At 3 a.m., I woke up with an idea. Not a revenge idea, not yet, just a clarity idea. I got up, made coffee, opened my laptop. See, here's the thing about being the only person who built a company's systems. You know where all the vulnerabilities are. Not security vulnerabilities. I'm not talking about hacking or sabotage. I'm talking about knowledge gaps. All those systems I built without documentation. All those patches I applied at 2 a.m. without logging them properly. All those workarounds I implemented because we never had budget for proper solutions. I spent the next week creating a document. A comprehensive, detailed, terrifyingly accurate document outlining every single point of failure in Falstone's infrastructure. Every undocumented system. Every patch that only I knew about. Every workaround that would fail catastrophically if I wasn't there to maintain it. I didn't threaten anything. Didn't say I'd sabotage anything. Just laid out the facts in clear, professional language. The document was 17 pages long. On Friday morning, I arrived at the office at 6 a.m. Gerald always came in at 7 a.m. before everyone else. Liked to feel like he was working harder than his team. I printed the document, put it in a manila folder, left it on his chair. Then I went to get breakfast. I was sitting in the diner 2 blocks away, working on my second cup of coffee and a plate of eggs that had gone cold when my phone started buzzing. Gerald. 3 missed calls in 5 minutes. I let it go to voicemail, ate my eggs, drank my coffee, read the news on my phone, all those little rituals that mean everything's normal, everything's fine, nothing's burning down. My phone buzzed again. Text message. Office. Now. I paid my bill, walked back slowly, took my time, let him wait. When I got there, Gerald's door was closed, voices inside, heated voices. I went to my desk, logged in, started checking emails. 10 minutes later, Janet from HR appeared. Mitch, conference room, please. The conference room had Gerald, Janet, and David Chen, the CTO. David looked tired. He always looked tired. Brilliant guy, completely overwhelmed, spent most of his time in meetings defending budget requests. Mitch, Gerald said. His voice was tight. We need to discuss this document. What about it? Is this accurate? Yes? All of it? Every word. David rubbed his face. Jesus Christ. This feels like a threat, Gerald said. It's not a threat. It's documentation. You've been asking me to document our systems for 3 years. There it is. This isn't documentation. This is a disaster scenario. They're the same thing. The disaster scenario exists because we never had time or budget for proper documentation. I'm just making everyone aware of the situation. Janet spoke up. Mitch, I think what Gerald is concerned about is the timing, coming right after your salary discussion. The timing is convenient, I said. I finally had time to put it all down in writing. This could be seen as an attempt at coercion. I looked at her. Really looked at her. Janet had been with the company for 12 years, seen 3 rounds of layoffs, survived by being aggressively bland. Janet, I said. If I wanted to coerce anyone, I wouldn't write a document explaining how to fix the problems. I'd just leave. Then you'd really be screwed. Silence. David spoke first. He's right. David, Gerald started. No, he's right. I've been saying for 2 years we need proper documentation and redundancy. Everyone's been too busy to prioritize it. Well, here's the documentation. In writing. Clearly presented. If Mitch walked out that door right now, we'd be scrambling for 6 months to untangle everything. Gerald's jaw worked. Fine. Mitch, take the rest of the day. We'll reconvene Monday. I stood up. Am I suspended? No, just take the day, with pay. I left. In my car, I sat for a minute before starting the engine. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from something else, something that felt like the moment before a match lights. I drove home, sat on my couch, stared at the wall. My phone rang. Not work this time. Darren, my son. I let it ring twice before answering. Hey, Dad, you busy Sunday? Depends. Brielle's family is coming over. We need you to cook. Not, would you mind cooking? Not, could you help us cook? Need you to cook. How many people? Like 19, 20 maybe. Can you do that Italian thing you make? The baked ziti? That's a lot of food, Darren. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm calling you. You're good at this stuff. Good at this stuff. Like I was hired help. What time? Like 4. But come early to prep. Maybe 1? 3 hours of prep for a meal I wouldn't be thanked for. I'll see what I can do. Don't see what you can do, Dad. Just do it. This is important to Brielle. I sat there holding my phone, staring at the blank screen. Darren was 29, married to Brielle for 3 years. They had a house I helped with the down payment on. Not officially, just a loan that was never discussed as a loan and certainly never paid back. Brielle was 30, marketing consultant, which seemed to mean she worked from home and spent a lot of time on social media. Blonde, pretty in a manufactured way, the kind of person who referred to herself as bougie like it was an accomplishment. They had no kids. Couldn't afford them, Brielle said. Not on Darren's salary as a mid-level account manager. But they could afford a house with a finished basement and a 2-car garage, could afford vacations to Cabo, could afford a lot of things when Dad was picking up the slack. I'd been picking up the slack for 3 years. Groceries when they came up short. Cash for emergencies that were never quite emergencies. Babysitting their dog when they went away. Fixing things around their house because hiring professionals cost money. And apparently, catering family dinners for 19 people. I should have said no. I didn't. That's the thing about being a parent. You keep thinking there's a bottom to how far you'll let yourself be used. You keep thinking you'll find your line and hold it. But the line keeps moving. Saturday morning, I went to the grocery store, spent $200 on ingredients. Ziti, ground beef, Italian sausage, ricotta, mozzarella, parmesan, crushed tomatoes, onions, garlic, spices. My cart looked like I was feeding an army. The checkout girl smiled. Big party? Something like that. Lucky guests. Yeah. I loaded everything into my car, drove to Darren's house, used the spare key he'd given me for emergencies. Let myself in. The house was empty. Note on the counter. Dad, at the gym. Brielle's getting her nails done. Make yourself at home. Thanks. 3 exclamation points, like enthusiasm could substitute for gratitude. I started cooking. Brown the meat. Sauté the onions and garlic. Mix the ricotta with eggs and parmesan. Boil the ziti. Layer everything in the massive aluminum pans I'd brought from home. The kitchen filled with cooking smells, garlic and tomato and cheese. Smells that should have felt good. Smells that just made me tired. It took 3 hours. By the time I was sliding the 4th pan into the oven, my back was screaming and my feet were numb. Darren came home at 5, gym bag over his shoulder, protein shaker in hand. He looked at the kitchen, flour on the counters, dirty pans in the sink, me sweating over the stove, and said, "Smells good. We're eating at 6, though, not 4. Brielle's mom is running late." Not thank you. Not this looks amazing. Just a schedule change that meant I'd be waiting around for 2 more hours. You could have texted me, I said. Yeah, sorry, forgot. You want a beer or something? I'm good. He grabbed one from the fridge, cracked it open, headed toward the living room. Hey, Dad? Yeah? Can you clean up the kitchen before everyone gets here? Brielle gets weird about messes. He didn't wait for an answer. I stood there, spatula in hand, back aching, feet numb. I cleaned the kitchen. At 6:15, the guests started arriving. Brielle's family, her mom, Karen, tight smile, expensive highlights, the kind of woman who made every room feel like a competition. Her dad, Tom, quiet, defeated, probably had opinions once. Brielle's sister, Ashley, and her husband, whose name I never remembered. Ashley's 3 kids, Brielle's brother Kyle and his girlfriend. Various cousins and aunts and people I'd met once and forgotten. They filled the house with noise, loud voices, louder laughs, the aggressive cheer of people who gathered for free food and called it family. I served the ziti, carried the heavy pans to the dining room, watched everyone pile food onto plates. "This looks amazing," Karen said. "Who catered?" "Dad made it," Darren said. "Oh." Karen's smile flickered. "Well, that's nice. Nice. Like I was a child who'd brought home a decent report card." I sat at the far end of the table, ate my food, listened to conversations that didn't include me. Brielle's family talked about vacations, about home renovations, about whose kids got into which schools. They talked about Brielle's cousin's wedding in Napa. They talked about Karen's cruise to Alaska. They didn't talk to me. Halfway through dinner, I heard Brielle's voice from the kitchen. She was talking to Ashley. Didn't know I could hear. I swear, he's always lurking around. Like, we get it. You're the dad. But it's suffocating. Does he expect you guys to take care of him or something? Honestly? I think he does. He's always dropping by unannounced. Always needing something. Darren feels guilty about it. That's rough. Right? Like, we have our own lives. We can't be responsible for some old man who didn't plan for retirement. Old man. I was 57, and I'd just spent $200 and 5 hours making food they were eating. I set my fork down, got up, walked past the kitchen, didn't say goodbye. In my car, I sat with my hands on the steering wheel. Didn't start the engine, just sat there. The iron taste was back, stronger now. That night I couldn't sleep. Lay in bed staring at the ceiling, watching shadows move across plaster, listening to the apartment building's sounds, pipes creaking, someone's TV through the wall, a couple arguing 2 floors up. At 3 a.m. I got up, made coffee, sat at my kitchen table, thought about Gerald saying market rates, thought about Darren saying, "Need you to cook," thought about Brielle calling me some old man, thought about how many times I'd swallowed words that needed to be said. I opened my laptop, started making a list, not a revenge list. Not yet. Just a list of facts. Things that were true, things I could prove, facts about work, facts about family, facts about money and time and effort that had gone unacknowledged. The list grew. By sunrise, it was 3 pages long. I read it over, added one more item at the bottom. Starting today, things change. I saved the document, closed my laptop, took a shower, made breakfast, got dressed for work. Monday morning, I walked into Falstone at 8 a.m. sharp. Gerald called me into his office at 8:30. "Mitch, sit down." I sat. "We've reviewed your documentation. It's concerning." "It should be." "Right. Well, David and I have discussed it. We're prepared to offer you a salary adjustment, bringing you up to $75,000. That's a 19% increase." 19%. Still 20,000 below the new hires. "Counteroffer," I said. 95. Gerald blinked. "That's not possible." "Sure it is. You're paying the new team 95. I have 7 years of institutional knowledge they don't have. I'm worth more, not less." "Mitch, be reasonable." "I am being reasonable. You said market rates. I'm asking for market rates." "The budget doesn't allow for that kind of jump." "Then we have a problem." Gerald's face went red. "Are you threatening to quit?" "I'm stating facts. You need me more than I need you. The documentation proves that. Pay me what I'm worth or find out what happens when I'm not here to fix things at 2 a.m. This is completely inappropriate. So was paying me 40% below market for 7 years. But here we are. I stood up, walked out, didn't wait to be dismissed. At my desk, my hands were shaking again. That same pre-match feeling, that same taste of iron and electricity. My phone buzzed. Text from Darren. "Hey, can you swing by this week? Need help moving furniture." I stared at the message. Didn't respond. Another text came through. "Also, Brielle's birthday is next month. We're thinking of doing a big thing." Can you handle the food again? I turned my phone face down on the desk, opened my laptop, started working. At lunch, Janet from HR appeared at my desk. Mitch, can we talk? Here's fine. She glanced around, lowered her voice. Gerald is very upset. I noticed. This isn't the way to handle things. What is the way, Janet? Being polite? Being patient? I've been both for 7 years. Got me a 40% pay cut relative to people who just walked in the door. I understand your frustration, but no, you don't. If you understood, you'd have flagged the pay disparity before I found out by accident. You'd have advocated for fair compensation. You'd have done your job. Her face went pale. That's not fair. Neither is this. But fair stopped mattering somewhere around year 3. She walked away. I ate my lunch, sandwich from home, apple, bottle of water. Everything tasted like nothing. That afternoon, David appeared. Mitch, walk with me. We went outside. Cold November air, gray sky. The parking lot was half empty. You really rattled Gerald, David said. Good. He's talking about firing you. He won't. How do you know? Because you told him what happens if he does. David smiled, tired smile. Yeah, I did. So what happens now? I'm working on the budget, seeing what I can move around. 85 is probably doable. 95. Mitch, 95, David. Not negotiable. He sighed. You're really going to burn this bridge? Bridge was already burned. I'm just acknowledging the fire. We stood there, wind cutting through our jackets, gray sky pressing down. I'll see what I can do, David said finally. He went back inside. I stayed outside a few more minutes, breathing cold air, feeling something shift in my chest, something breaking loose, something I'd been holding onto for too long. When I went back to my desk, there were 7 new text messages from Darren. I deleted them without reading, logged into my system, started documenting everything. Properly this time. Every system, every workaround, every patch, every single thing they'd need to know if I wasn't there. Not because I was being helpful, because I was building evidence. At 6 p.m. I went home, cooked dinner, real dinner, salmon, roasted vegetables, rice, sat at my table, ate slowly, tasted everything. First meal in months that tasted like something. After dinner, I opened my laptop, looked at that list again, added a new section at the bottom. Phase 1, establish boundaries. Under that, I wrote 3 items. 1, no more free labor at work. 2, no more free labor for family. 3, document everything I saved the document, closed my laptop, went to bed, slept 7 hours straight, first time in a year. Before we continue, hit the hype button, subscribe and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We'd love to get to know our audience better. Tuesday morning started with a missed call from Gerald at 6:45 a.m. I was in the shower, let it go to voicemail, dried off, got dressed, made coffee, checked the voicemail while I ate breakfast. Mitch, it's Gerald. We need to talk. Call me back when you get this. I deleted the message, finished my coffee, drove to work. Gerald was waiting at my desk when I arrived. My office, now. The conference room this time, same setup. Gerald, Janet, David. We've made a decision, Gerald said. 88,000. Final offer. 95. God damn it, Mitch. Language, Janet murmured. Gerald took a breath. We've made a generous offer. You need to accept it, or we'll have to consider this a resignation. Consider it whatever you want. You're willing to throw away 7 years over $7,000? I'm willing to walk away from 7 years of being undervalued, yes. David spoke up. Mitch, be smart about this. 88 is a huge increase. Take the win. It's not a win when I'm still making less than people I'm training. Market conditions. Don't change the fact that you need me more than I need you. Here's the reality. I can have a new job in 2 weeks. You can't replace me in 6 months. We both know it. Stop pretending otherwise. Silence. Finally, David turned to Gerald. He's right, David. He's right, Gerald. We can't afford to lose him. Not right now. Not with the Q4 integration coming up. More silence. Fine, he said. 90,000. Not a dollar more. 95. Mitch? 95, or I walk. Today. I stood up, headed for the door. Wait, David said. Gerald, just do it. We'll find it. We'll move budget from marketing, from travel. I don't care, but we can't lose him. I stopped at the door. Didn't turn around. Waited. Fine, Gerald said finally. 95, effective immediately. Happy now? Ecstatic. I left. Didn't smile until I was back at my desk. Then I smiled. The feeling was sharp and clean, like biting into a winter apple, like that first breath after being underwater too long. Around 10 a.m., the company-wide email went out. Standard HR announcement about salary adjustments. My name buried in a list of 6 people getting raises. My phone buzzed. Text from a coworker, Tim. Dude, nice. Another from Lisa, 2 desks over. Drinks after work? I declined politely. Wasn't in the mood to celebrate with people who'd watched me get underpaid for 7 years without saying anything. At lunch, I sat in my car, ate the sandwich I'd packed, watched people come and go from the building, thought about Darren's unanswered texts, thought about Brielle calling me some old man, thought about Sunday's dinner, 20 people eating food I'd made, not one thank you. I pulled out my phone, opened the family text chain. Darren, me, Linda. Typed a message. New policy. No more cooking for large groups. No more free labor. No more last-minute requests. If you need help, ask in advance. If you need food, hire a caterer. This is non-negotiable. Sent it. Linda responded first. Is everything okay? Darren took longer. What the hell, Dad? I turned my phone off, finished my lunch, went back to work. The afternoon was quiet. People avoided me. Probably heard about the salary confrontation. Probably didn't know what to say to someone who'd just forced management's hand. I didn't care. At 5 p.m., I left. Exactly 5 p.m. Didn't stay late, didn't check email one last time, didn't make sure everything was perfect for tomorrow. Just left. Drove home, made dinner, watched TV, normal evening, normal everything. My phone buzzed around 8 p.m. I'd turned it back on. Darren calling. I answered. Dad, what's going on? I explained in the text. No, you didn't. You just dropped some weird ultimatum. It's not weird. It's a boundary. A boundary? Since when do we need boundaries? We're family. Family that treats me like hired help. That's not fair. Isn't it? When's the last time you thanked me for cooking Sunday dinner? I thanked you. You told me to clean the kitchen. Silence. Dad, I heard what Brielle said, in the kitchen, about me being some old man who didn't plan for retirement. More silence. Longer this time. She didn't mean it like that. How did she mean it? I don't know. She was just talking. You know how she is. Yeah, I do. That's the problem. Look, can we just talk about this in person? Come over this week. We'll have dinner. Just the 3 of us. No. Dad. I'm done, Darren. Done cooking. Done cleaning. Done being available for whatever you need, whenever you need it. You want my time. You ask respectfully and in advance. You want my money. You pay me back. You want my help. You show appreciation. That's the deal now. You're being ridiculous. I'm being clear. Big difference. I hung up, set the phone down. My hands were steady. That night I slept fine, 8 hours straight. No dreams I remembered. Wednesday morning I got to work at 8 a.m. Gerald avoided me. Good. At 9 a.m. my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Is this Mitch Halperin? Yes. This is Carol from Valley Bank. I'm calling about a loan application that was flagged in our system. My stomach tightened. What loan application? A personal loan for $50,000. Applied for Monday using your information. But our fraud detection system flagged it because you already have an active account with us, and the application came from an IP address that doesn't match your usual locations. I didn't apply for any loan. That's what we suspected. We've frozen the application, but you should check your credit report. Looks like someone has your information. Can you tell me anything about the application? I can tell you it listed your name, social security number, and address, but the phone number and email were different from what we have on file. What phone number? She read it off. Darren's number. I thanked her, hung up, sat at my desk staring at nothing. Darren had tried to take out a loan in my name, not asked for a loan, tried to steal my identity to get one. I stood up, walked to the bathroom, splashed cold water on my face, looked at myself in the mirror. The man looking back was someone I barely recognized, older than I felt, more tired than I wanted to be, but not weak, not anymore. I pulled out my phone, called Valley Bank back, asked for Carol. I want to file a formal fraud report, and I want copies of everything related to that application. Of course, I'll start the paperwork. How long will it take? Fraud reports usually take 48 hours to process. We'll email you copies of everything we have. Thank you. Next call, credit monitoring service. Froze my credit. Requested fraud alerts on all 3 bureaus. Next call, Linda. She answered on the 3rd ring. Mitch, what's wrong? Did you know Darren tried to take out a loan in my name? Silence. Linda? He mentioned something about needing money. I didn't know he was going to use your information. You knew he was thinking about it? He said he was desperate, that you weren't helping anymore, that Brielle's parents were judging them for not having money. So that makes fraud okay? No, of course not. But you've been acting strange lately. The text you sent, refusing to help. Maybe if you'd just talked to him. I'm done talking. He committed fraud. I'm filing a police report. Mitch, don't. He's your son. He stopped acting like my son when he decided to steal from me. I hung up. Linda called back immediately. I declined the call. She texted, "Please don't do this. Let's talk." I blocked her number, sat there breathing hard. The office buzzed around me, phones ringing, keyboards clicking. Normal Wednesday sounds. Nothing felt normal. At lunch, I drove to the police station. Small building downtown, smelled like old coffee and recycled air. Filed a report, identity theft, fraud. Gave them everything. The call from the bank, Darren's number, the timeline. The officer taking the report looked bored. Family member? My son. His expression changed. You sure you want to press charges? I'm sure. These cases get messy. Families get involved, people take sides. Let them. He finished the report, gave me a case number. We'll follow up within a week. I thanked him, left. In my car, I sat for a minute, hands on the steering wheel, engine off. Thought about Darren as a kid, 7 years old, gap-toothed smile, following me around the garage while I fixed things, handing me tools, asking endless questions. When did that kid turn into this? My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Dad, this is Brielle. I got your number from Darren's phone. We need to talk. I deleted it, drove back to work. The afternoon crawled. Couldn't focus. Kept thinking about the loan application, about Darren's number on the form, about Linda defending him, about how thoroughly I'd been betrayed by people I'd spent my life supporting. At 4 p.m., David stopped by my desk. You okay? You look rough. I'm fine. Liar. I looked at him. David was 43, divorced, 2 kids he saw on weekends, probably the only person at Falstone who understood anything about real life. Family stuff, I said. Want to grab coffee? Not really. Grabbing coffee anyway, come on. We went to the diner 2 blocks away. Same place I'd gone the morning I left the document on Gerald's chair. Felt like months ago instead of days. We got coffee, sat in a booth. David waited. I told him, Not everything, just enough. The dinner, the comments, the loan application. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, "File charges?" "Yeah." "Good." "Linda thinks I'm being vindictive." "Linda's wrong. This isn't vindictive, this is consequences." "Is there a difference?" "Huge difference. Vindictive is revenge. Consequences are just letting reality catch up to people." I drank my coffee. It was terrible. Diner coffee always is. "I keep thinking I'm overreacting," I said. "You're not." "How do you know?" "Because you're the calmest I've seen you in months. People who overreact don't get calm. They get louder." We sat there, drinking terrible coffee, not talking. Finally, David said, "You know what your problem is?" "I'm sure you'll tell me." "You've spent your whole life being useful to people who don't appreciate it. Work, family, everyone. And now you're finally standing up for yourself and it feels wrong because you're not used to it." That's a pretty solid analysis. "I have a therapist. She's expensive, but worth it." We both smiled, finished our coffee, went back to work. That evening, I went home, made dinner, chicken breast, salad, glass of water, sat at my table, pulled out my laptop, opened that document, the list. Added a new entry under Phase 1. 4. Press charges for fraud, no exceptions. Then added a new section. Phase 2. Document everything they do, let them hang themselves. Saved it, closed the laptop. Thursday morning started with an email from Valley Bank. Fraud report complete. Attached files. I opened them. The loan application was there, clear as day. My name, my social, my address, Darren's phone number, an email address I didn't recognize, probably a throwaway he'd created. And at the bottom, a signature. My signature. Forged, but decent. Better than I expected. I forwarded everything to the police, referenced my case number, then I saved copies to my personal drive. Triple backed up, encrypted, evidence. At 10 a.m., Darren showed up at my office. I was at my desk when Lisa said, "Mitch, someone's here for you." I turned around. Darren stood at the entrance to our floor, looked nervous, hands in his pockets, shirt untucked. "Dad, can we talk?" Everyone was watching, entire office pretending not to stare. "No," I said, 5 minutes. "No. Dad, you tried to steal $50,000 from me. We're not having a conversation." His face went red. "It's not stealing. I was going to pay you back. Using money you got by committing fraud. I needed help. You cut me off. I set boundaries. You committed a felony. Not the same thing. Please, just talk to me. I'll explain everything." I stood up, walked toward him, kept my voice low. "Leave, now, or I'll call security." "You filed a police report." "Yes. Against me, your own son. Against the person who committed fraud. Happens to be my son. That's on you, not me." "Mom's right. You've changed. You're different." "I'm done being a doormat. If that's different, good." He stood there, looked like he might cry or punch me. Couldn't tell which. Did neither. Just turned and left. I went back to my desk. Everyone was definitely staring now. Didn't care. Gerald appeared an hour later. "Mitch, my office." Here we go again. In his office, Gerald closed the door. "We have a problem." "We?" "Personal conflicts need to stay personal, not in the workplace." He showed up here, not my choice. Nevertheless, this reflects poorly on the company. Your concern is noted. "I'm serious, Mitch. We can't have drama in the office." "Then maybe tell people not to show up uninvited." "I'm asking you to handle this quietly." "I am handling it, through proper legal channels, quietly as possible. Just keep it out of the office." "Sure, tell your son to stop committing fraud and I'll stop filing reports." His face did that purple thing again. I left before he could respond. Went back to my desk, worked until 5 p.m., left on time. At home, I made a simple dinner. Pasta, jarred sauce, not trying to impress anyone. Ate it. Cleaned up, sat on my couch. My phone rang. Linda, unblocked somehow. I answered. Mitch, please, let's figure this out. Nothing to figure out. He made a mistake. He committed fraud. He's scared. The police called him today. He's terrified. Good. This isn't you. You don't know what is or isn't me. We've been divorced for 12 years. I know you're not vindictive. I'm not being vindictive. I'm being rational. Rational? You're destroying your relationship with your son over money. He destroyed it when he forged my signature. He said he was desperate. Desperate people ask for help. Criminals forge documents. God, when did you become so cold? Around the time everyone started treating me like an ATM with no feelings. She hung up. I set the phone down. Cold. Maybe. But cold meant no more burns. Friday morning brought another email, this time from the police. Detective assigned to the case, Officer Ramirez, wanted to schedule an interview. I called the number provided. Ramirez, this is Mitch Halperin. You emailed about case number 248847. Right. Identity theft. Your son, correct? Correct. These cases are complicated. Family involvement adds layers. You sure you want to proceed? I'm sure. We'll need a formal statement. Can you come in Monday morning? What time? 9 a.m.? I'll be there. Bring any documentation you have, emails, texts, bank statements, anything that establishes a pattern. I have everything. Good. See you Monday. I hung up. Pattern. He wanted a pattern. I could give him a pattern. That weekend I went through everything. Bank statements showing transfers to Darren, text messages asking for help, emails about money, the dinner party texts, everything. Built a timeline. 3 years of financial requests. Maybe $20,000 total. None of it paid back. None of it even acknowledged as loans. I organized it all, color-coded, cross-referenced, made it impossible to miss. By Sunday evening, I had a 40-page document. Comprehensive, devastating. I saved it, printed it, put it in a folder. Monday morning, I drove to the police station, met with Detective Ramirez. He was mid-40s, tired eyes, looked like he'd seen too many family disputes turn criminal. Mr. Halperin, thanks for coming in. We went to an interview room. Small, table, chairs, mirror on one wall. Tell me everything, he said. I did. Showed him the documents. Walked him through the timeline. Explained the loan application, the forged signature, the pattern of financial exploitation. He took notes, asked questions. You're sure about pressing charges? Completely sure. Your ex-wife called me. Said you're doing this out of spite. My ex-wife enabled this behavior for years. Her opinion is irrelevant. Kids involved? Grandkids? No. That's something. These cases get brutal when kids are watching. Just brutal between adults, then. He almost smiled. Your son will likely get a public defender. They'll try to negotiate, drop charges in exchange for restitution. Not interested. You want this to go to trial? If necessary. Could take a year, maybe longer. I have time. He studied me. You've really thought this through. I have. Most people change their minds once things get real. Court dates, family pressure, guilt. I won't. We'll see. He finished his notes, gave me a card. Call if you think of anything else. We'll be in touch. I left. In my car, I sat for a minute. This was real now, official, moving forward, no turning back. I started the engine, drove to work. The rest of Monday was normal. Work stuff, system stuff, meetings I half listened to. At lunch, David found me. How'd it go? Police report is filed. It's moving forward. How do you feel? Like I should feel worse than I do. Guilt? Maybe. Or just surprised that I don't feel guilty. That's growth. Uncomfortable, but growth. We ate lunch, talked about other things. Work, weather, the Celtics. Normal conversation. Felt good. That evening I got home to find my apartment building's package room broken into. Manager said someone tried to force my storage locker but didn't get in. Security footage showed a figure in a hoodie. Couldn't see the face. But I recognized the build, the walk, the way he moved. Darren. I called Detective Ramirez. Another incident to report. Detective Ramirez pulled up the building's security footage on Tuesday morning. We stood in the package room, him watching the grainy video on his phone, while the building manager hovered nearby looking nervous. "That him?" Ramirez asked. The figure on screen moved jerkily through the frame, hood up, face down, gloved hands working at my storage locker with what looked like a pry bar. "Can't see his face," I said. "But that's his jacket, North Face, gray. I bought it for him 2 Christmases ago." "That's not enough for charges." "I know." Ramirez rewound the footage. Watched it again. "Height looks right. Build looks right. But unless we can see his face or catch him with the pry bar, it's circumstantial." "What about adding it to the existing case? Pattern of harassment? Maybe. But your lawyer would have better luck with it than we would criminally." "I don't have a lawyer." He looked at me. "Get one. This is escalating. Break-in attempt today, what's tomorrow?" I thanked him. He left. The building manager, Paulson, wrung his hands. "Should we call the police?" Detective just left. Right. I meant, should we ban your son from the building?" "Can you do that?" "If he's a threat to residents, yes." "Then yes. Ban him." Paulson nodded, made a note, scurried off. I went to work. My phone buzzed constantly. Linda, Darren, unknown numbers that were probably Brielle. I silenced it. At my desk, I pulled up a legal directory. Started researching lawyers, family law, criminal defense. Wasn't sure which I needed. Ended up calling 3 offices, left messages. 2 called back that afternoon. First one, Mitchell Gray, sounded bored. "These cases are messy. Family stuff always is. My retainer is $5,000. Second one, Patricia Wolf, sounded interested. "Tell me what's happening." I gave her the summary. Fraud, break-in attempt, harassment. How much are we talking about financially? Loan application was for $50,000. Pattern of smaller amounts over 3 years, maybe 20 total. "And you filed charges?" "Yes." "Good, that's leverage. They'll want you to drop charges. Don't. Not unless you get everything you want." "Which is?" "We'll discuss that. Can you come in this week?" "When?" "Thursday, 2 p.m. "I'll be there." She gave me the address. Office in downtown Boston, expensive neighborhood. "Retainer is $3,000, she said. "That gets you 10 hours. After that, we bill at $350 an hour." Expensive, but probably worth it. "I'll bring a check Thursday." "See you then." I hung up. Felt something settle in my chest, like pieces locking into place. At 3 p.m., Gerald appeared at my desk. "Mitch, conference room. Same people. Gerald, Janet, David. Getting old." "We've received complaints," Gerald said without preamble. "About?" "Your situation. People are uncomfortable." "What situation?" "The family drama. Your son showing up. The scene it caused." "I didn't cause a scene. He showed up uninvited." "Nevertheless, employees have expressed concerns." "Which employees?" Gerald hesitated. "That's confidential." "Interesting. We're asking you to handle this outside of work hours." "I am handling it outside of work hours. He's the one bringing it here." Janet spoke up. "Mitch, we're just trying to maintain a professional environment." "Then tell people to stop gossiping about my personal life." "That's not..." Gerald started. "Actually, it is. Either I'm being harassed at work, in which case you need to address it, or I'm not, in which case this meeting is over." David was trying not to smile. Gerald's face did the purple thing. "Just keep it professional," he said finally. "Always do." I left. Back at my desk, Lisa leaned over. "You okay?" "Fine. That was intense. They'll get over it." She went back to work. So did I. The rest of Tuesday passed quietly. No more confrontations. No more surprise visits. Wednesday morning brought an email from Valley Bank. Investigation complete. Fraud confirmed. My credit protected. Case closed on their end. I forwarded it to Ramirez and Patricia Wolf. At lunch, I went to the boxing gym. Small place. Basement of an old building. Smelled like sweat and rubber mats. I'd been going for 6 months. Started after Linda and I got divorced. Needed something physical. Something with clear rules and immediate consequences. The gym owner, Frank, was 72. Former Golden Gloves. Hands like baseball mitts. Face like worn leather. Mitch, been a while. Been busy. Too busy to take care of yourself? Apparently. We worked the heavy bag. Jab, cross, hook, basic combinations. Felt good to hit something. Felt good to move. After 30 minutes, I was drenched in sweat and breathing hard. Frank handed me a water bottle. What's eating you? That obvious? You're hitting like you're angry. Anger makes you sloppy. Trying to work through some stuff. Family? How'd you know? Only 2 things make men hit that hard. Women or family. You've been divorced too long for it to be a woman. I drank water, caught my breath. My son, I said. Long story. They always are. Frank studied me. Let me guess. He needs money. You said no. Now you're the bad guy. Close enough? Kids these days, no respect. My generation, you didn't ask your parents for money. You got a job, worked, figured it out. Different world now. Weaker world. We worked the bag again. This time I focused. Clean shots, controlled breathing. Better. That's more like it, Frank said. Save the anger for people who deserve it. Working on that. Afterward, I showered at the gym, changed, felt clearer, calmer, drove back to work. The afternoon was productive, fixed a database issue, updated some security protocols, normal work, good work. At 5 p.m. I left on time, home, dinner, TV. My phone buzzed, text from an unknown number. This is Brielle. We need to talk about Darren. He's falling apart. You need to drop the charges. I blocked the number. Another text. Different number. Dad, it's me. I'm sorry, can we please talk? Darren. I stared at the message. Thought about responding. Didn't. Blocked that number too. Went to bed. Thursday morning started with rain. Cold November rain. The kind that gets into your bones. I dressed for the lawyer meeting. Suit, tie. Not because I had to. Because I wanted to look like someone who had their shit together. Work until noon, then drove to Boston. Patricia Wolf's office was in a glass building overlooking the Common. Expensive neighborhood, expensive building, expensive everything. Her office was on the 7th floor. Modern, clean. Law books on shelves, framed degrees on walls, the usual. Patricia was mid-50s, sharp eyes, sharper suit, handshake that said she'd crushed bigger problems than mine. Mitch, sit. I sat, handed her the check. $3,000. Hurt to write it, but necessary. She glanced at it, set it aside. Talk me through everything, start to finish. Don't leave anything out. I did. The dinner, the comments, the loan fraud, the break-in attempt, the texts, the harassment. She took notes, asked questions, lots of questions. When I finished, she sat back. You've documented everything? Yes. Good. That's the foundation. Now let's talk strategy. Which is? 3 goals. 1. Protect yourself from further harassment. 2. Recover the money you're owed. 3. Make sure your son understands there are consequences for his actions. How do we do that? First, restraining order. Based on the break-in attempt and harassment, we can get a temporary order immediately. That keeps him away from you, your home, your workplace. He'll fight it. Let him. We have documentation. He has excuses. Second goal? Civil suit. Separate from the criminal case. We sue for the $20,000 in unpaid loans plus the attempted fraud damages. Even if the criminal case gets dropped, we still have civil recourse. How long does that take? 6 months to a year. but it applies pressure. Makes him take this seriously. And the third goal? That's the criminal case. We let it proceed. Your testimony is solid. The evidence is clear. Either he pleads out or goes to trial. Either way, he gets a record. I sat there processing. How much is this going to cost? Retainer covers the restraining order and initial civil filing. After that depends on how hard he fights. But budget another $5,000 to $10,000. Expensive, but worth it. Let's do it, I said. All of it? All of it. She smiled. First time I'd seen her smile. Good. I like clients who commit. We spent the next hour going through details. Dates, amounts, documentation. She pulled information from me I didn't know was relevant. Friday morning, November 30th, the day of the restraining order hearing. I woke up at 6 a.m. sharp, no alarm, just opened my eyes and knew. Made coffee, toast, ate without tasting, showered, shaved carefully, put on the suit, looked at myself in the mirror. The man looking back was ready. I drove downtown, got to the courthouse at 9:15, 45 minutes early, wanted time to settle, to breathe, to prepare. The courthouse was old stone, built in the 1920s, heavy doors, high ceilings, that particular smell of old buildings and human misery. Patricia was waiting inside, same sharp suit, same sharp eyes. Morning, you ready? As I'll ever be. You look good, calm, that's important. We went through security, metal detectors, bag search, standard procedure, up to the third floor, family court. Restraining order hearings were administrative, quick, efficient, brutal in their efficiency. We sat on a bench outside courtroom 3B. He's not here yet, Patricia said. Will he show? Probably. His lawyer will make him. At 9:45, Darren appeared, James Chen beside him. Darren looked rough, thinner than I remembered, dark circles under his eyes, hair uncombed, cheap suit that didn't fit right. He saw me. Our eyes met. I looked away. Patricia put a hand on my arm. Remember, don't engage. I nodded. They sat on the opposite bench, 20 feet away. Might as well have been miles. At 9:55, a bailiff came out. Halperin versus Halperin, courtroom 3B. We all stood, filed in. The courtroom was small, just the judge's bench. A few chairs, no jury box, no gallery. The judge was a woman, mid-60s, reading glasses, expression that suggested she'd heard every excuse ever invented. Halperin versus Halperin, she said, glancing at papers. Petition for restraining order. Ms. Wolfe? Patricia stood. Yes, Your Honor, we're petitioning for a permanent restraining order based on harassment, threats, and an attempted break-in at the petitioner's residence. Mr. Chen? Chen stood. Your Honor, we respectfully oppose. There's no evidence of actual threats. The alleged break-in is unsubstantiated, and the petitioner is the respondent's father. This is a family dispute, not a case for restraining orders. Ms. Wolfe? Patricia opened her folder, handed documents to the bailiff, who passed them to the judge. Your Honor, we have extensive documentation. Security footage from the attempted break-in, text messages showing harassment, a pattern of financial exploitation culminating in identity theft and fraud. The judge read through the documents, took her time, finally looked up. Mr. Chen, your client attempted to take out a loan in his father's name? There's a pending criminal investigation, Your Honor. We're not conceding. I'm not asking about concessions. I'm asking about facts. Did your client attempt to take out a loan using his father's information? Chen shifted. The circumstances are complicated. That's a yes. Ms. Wolfe, I'm granting the temporary restraining order. Respondent is to have no contact with petitioner. No phone calls, no texts, no physical presence within 500 feet of petitioner's home or workplace. Violation will result in arrest. Your Honor, Chen started. I've made my ruling. Permanent hearing will be scheduled in 6 months. If there are no violations in that time, we'll reconsider. Until then, the order stands. Gavel. Done. We filed out. In the hallway, Darren tried to approach. Patricia stepped between us. Stop. Right there. You just heard the judge, no contact. Chen pulled Darren back. Come on. But Darren was staring at me, eyes wet, face twisted. Dad, he said, voice breaking. I didn't respond. Patricia guided me toward the elevator. Don't look back, she said. I didn't. We got in the elevator. Doors closed. That went well, Patricia said. Did it? Better than expected. Some judges won't grant restraining orders in family disputes. She saw the evidence and didn't hesitate. What happens now? The order is active immediately. He violates it. Call the police. They'll arrest him. And the civil suit? We file next week. Should have him served by mid-December. We exited the courthouse. Cold air, bright sun, everything sharp and clear. You okay? Patricia asked. I don't know. That's normal. First big legal win. Takes time to process. He looked terrible. Not your responsibility. He's my son. He's an adult who made adult choices. This is on him. We stood there, traffic moving past, people living normal lives. Thank you, I said. You're welcome. Call me if anything happens. Otherwise, I'll be in touch next week. She left. I walked to my car, sat inside, hands on the steering wheel, didn't start the engine, just sat. My phone buzzed. Text from Linda. I heard about the restraining order. Are you happy now? I deleted it without responding. Started the car, drove to work, walked in at 11:30, went straight to my desk. Lisa glanced over. How was your morning? Fine. Didn't elaborate. Worked until 5 p.m. Systems maintenance, updates, routine, left on time. At home, I changed clothes, made dinner, sat on the couch. My phone rang. Unknown number. Answered out of habit. Mr. Halperin, this is James Chen. We need to discuss settlement. Talk to my lawyer. My client is willing to... I hung up. Blocked the number. 2 minutes later, different number. Mr. Halperin... Hung up. Blocked. Third number. Please, just listen. Hung up. Turned the phone off. Made coffee. Drank it slowly. Thought about Darren's face in the courthouse. The tears. The brokenness. Thought about Brielle calling me some old man. Thought about the forged signature. Thought about everything. Felt nothing. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe that was the solution. Hard to tell. Saturday morning I went to the gym. Frank was there. Always there. How'd it go yesterday? Got the restraining order. Good. Is it? Is it what? Good. Does it feel good? Frank studied me. You expecting it to feel good? Maybe. It won't. Winning never feels as good as you think it will, especially when you're fighting family. So what's the point? The point is you're not losing. Not the same as winning, but better than the alternative. We worked the bags. Hard session. Lots of power work. Afterward, I was drenched and exhausted. Better? Frank asked. Yeah. Good. Keep showing up. That's all that matters. I drove home. Showered. Made lunch. My phone was still off. Turned it on. 17 missed calls. 8 voicemails. Deleted all of them without listening. 1 text from Patricia. Chen has been trying to reach me. Wants to discuss settlement. I'm stalling until after we file the civil suit. Thoughts? I replied. Agree. Let him sweat. Will do. Sunday was quiet. Went for a run. Read. Cooked a real dinner. Roast chicken. Vegetables. Took my time. Normal evening. Normal life. Felt good. Monday morning brought another call from Ramirez. Quick update. Grand jury is scheduled for December 20th. We'll need you to testify. What does that involve? You tell your story, show the evidence, answer questions. Usually takes an hour. And then? If they indict, he'll be arraigned. Probably early January. What are the chances they don't indict? With your evidence? 0. Okay? You still solid on this? Yes. Good. I'll send you prep materials this week. We hung up. Work was normal. Systems work, a few meetings, nothing dramatic. At lunch, David appeared. How was court? Got the restraining order. How do you feel? Everyone keeps asking me that. Because everyone's worried you're going to crack. I'm not cracking. I know. That's what worries people. Why? Because most people would have backed down by now. The fact that you haven't makes you unpredictable. People don't like unpredictable. People should mind their own business. True, but they won't. We ate lunch, talked about work, normal stuff. Back at my desk, I got an email from Patricia. Civil suit filed. Darren will be served at his home address tomorrow. Be prepared for fallout. I replied, prepared. Tuesday evening, Linda called. I answered. Felt like I should. Mitch, Darren was served with a civil suit today. I know. $70,000? Are you insane? That's what he tried to steal, plus what he owes. He can't pay that. Not my problem. Yes, it is. You're destroying his life. He destroyed his own life when he committed fraud. He made a mistake. No, mistakes are accidents. This was intentional. So you're going to bankrupt him? Take everything? If that's what it takes. You've changed. You're not the man I married. You divorced that man 12 years ago. This is who I am now. I don't like who you are now. Lucky for both of us, you don't have to. She hung up. I set the phone down. Felt nothing. Wednesday brought another call from Chen. Mr. Halperin, we really need to settle this. Talk to my lawyer. My client cannot afford $70,000. Should have thought of that before committing fraud. He's willing to do 20, cash, by end of year. Talk to my lawyer. Please, hung up. Called Patricia. Chen offered 20. He called you directly again? Yes. I'll file a complaint with the Bar Association. He knows better. Is 20 a good offer? It's insulting. We're suing for 70. He opens at 20. We're not negotiating until he's at 50 minimum. Okay. Let me handle this. I will. Thursday was Thanksgiving. I'd forgotten about Thanksgiving, spent it alone, made a small turkey breast, mashed potatoes, green beans, watched football. Linda called. I didn't answer. Darren called from a blocked number. I didn't answer. Brielle called from God knows where. I didn't answer. Just watched football, ate turkey, had a beer, normal Thanksgiving, quiet Thanksgiving, good Thanksgiving, Friday morning, Black Friday. I went to the gym. Frank was there. Of course he was. You worked yesterday? Nope. Took the day off. How was it? Quiet. Good quiet or bad quiet? Just quiet. We worked. Bags, pads, footwork drills. Felt good to move, to sweat, to focus on something immediate. After an hour, Frank pulled me aside. You're getting better. At what? At this. At handling your shit. When you first started coming here, you were a mess. All anger, no control. Now you're controlled, focused. Is that good? It's necessary. You got a war ahead of you. Need to be focused for that. Not a war, just consequences. Same thing. Saturday brought another email from Patricia. Chen has gone up to 35. I told him 50 minimum. He's balking. We may have to go to trial on the civil suit. I replied, fine by me. Good. Trial would be mid-2025. You okay with that timeline? Yes. Okay. I'll keep pushing. Sunday, I went for a long run. 5 miles. First time in years. Legs hurt, lungs burned, felt amazing. Came home, showered, made a good breakfast, eggs, toast, coffee. Sat on my balcony despite the cold. Watched the world wake up. My phone buzzed. Text from Patricia. Chen just called. 50,000. Final offer. Cash payment plan. 5 years. If Darren violates the restraining order or misses a payment, full amount becomes immediately due. I stared at the message. 50,000. What I was owed plus the attempted fraud amount. Replied, payment plan details? 10,000 down. 8,000 per year for 5 years, secured by lien on his house. And the criminal case? Separate. This is civil only. Criminal proceeds regardless. I thought about it. 50,000 was fair, more than fair. Payment plan was reasonable. Lien on the house meant security, but accepting meant letting him off easy, meant no trial, meant less pain. Counter, 60,000. Same payment plan. If he accepts, I'll agree. That's 10,000 more than we sued for. I know, but he opened at 20, made us negotiate. That costs extra. Patricia replied with a laughing emoji. First time I'd seen her use an emoji. I like the way you think. Let me present it. 2 hours later. He accepted. 60,000. 12 down, 9.6 per year for 5 years. Lien on the house. Agreement will be drawn up this week. And if he defaults? House goes up for sale. You get paid first. Good. You sound satisfied. I am. This isn't about revenge, it's about consequences. Could have fooled me. I smiled. Replied, when do we sign? Next week. I'll send details. That evening I made a nice dinner. Steak, wine, took my time, sat at my table, ate slowly, enjoyed every bite. My phone rang. Linda. I answered. Mitch, Darren told me about the settlement. Good. $60,000. He doesn't have that kind of money. Then he'll make payments. For 5 years. That's his entire life. Should have thought about that before forging my signature. You're being cruel. I'm being fair. Huge difference. How is taking his house fair? I'm not taking his house. I'm securing the debt. If he makes his payments, he keeps the house. And if he doesn't? Then he learns about consequences. She was crying now. Why are you doing this? Because someone has to teach him that actions have consequences. You never did. I'm doing it now. I hate you. That's fine. You don't have to like me. You just have to accept that I'm done being used. She hung up. I finished dinner, washed dishes, went to bed, slept straight through. Monday morning started with prep materials from Ramirez, grand jury procedures, what to expect, how to testify. I read through everything, took notes, prepared. Work was normal, systems maintenance, routine. At lunch, David found me. Heard you got a settlement. Who told you? Word gets around? 60,000? Yep. That's some serious cash. That's what he owes me. Plus interest? Plus consequences. David smiled. You've really committed to this. All the way. No regrets? Not one. Damn, you're my hero. I'm nobody's hero. Just a guy who got tired of being a doormat. Same thing sometimes. Tuesday evening, I signed the settlement agreement in Patricia's office. Darren signed remotely via electronic signature. We never had to be in the same room. The agreement was ironclad. 12,000 down payment due by December 31st. Then 9.6 thousand per year for 5 years. Lien on the house. If he missed a single payment, entire balance became immediately due. This is solid, Patricia said. You're protected. Good. How do you feel? Everyone keeps asking me that. Because it's a significant moment. I feel like I did what I had to do. That's a good answer. I drove home, made dinner, normal evening. My phone buzzed, text from an unknown number. Dad, it's me. I signed the agreement. I'll make the payments, I promise. Can we talk now? Darren, using a new number. I blocked it. Didn't respond. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday passed quietly. Work, gym, home, simple routine. Saturday morning, I went for another long run. 6 miles this time. Pushed harder. Felt good. Came home to find an envelope taped to my apartment door. No return address. Just my name and Darren's handwriting. Inside was a check for $12,000. And a note. Dad, here's the first payment. I'm sorry for everything. I know I screwed up. I know you hate me. But I'm going to make this right. I promise. Can we please talk? Darren. I stared at the check. Looked real. Verified the routing number online. Legitimate. The note I threw away. Deposited the check via mobile app. Cleared in 2 days. Didn't respond to the note. Monday morning brought the grand jury testimony. I arrived at the courthouse at 8:45 a.m. Ramirez met me outside. Ready? As I'll be. Just tell the truth, answer their questions, you'll be fine. We went inside. Up to the 4th floor, grand jury room, small room, 23 citizens sitting in rows, all ages, all backgrounds. The prosecutor, Amanda Walsh, led me through my testimony. I told the story, the loan application, the forged signature, the pattern of financial exploitation, showed the evidence, bank documents, emails, texts, security footage. The grand jury asked questions. I answered honestly. The whole thing took 90 minutes. Afterward, Ramirez walked me out. That was good, really good. Think they'll indict? Guaranteed. When will we know? They're deliberating now. Should have an answer by end of day. I went to work, tried to focus. Mostly failed. At 4 p.m., Ramirez called. Indicted, all charges, he'll be arraigned January 10th. What charges? Identity theft, fraud, forgery, 3 felonies. What's he facing? Worst case? 5 years. But he's a first-time offender, more likely probation and fines. And the restraining order? Stays in place through the trial. Good. You okay with this? Why wouldn't I be? Because he's your son and this is serious. He committed serious crimes. Fair enough, I'll keep you updated. We hung up. I sat at my desk, stared at my screen. 3 felonies. My son was facing 3 felonies. Because of me, because of him. Hard to separate the two. I finished work, left at 5 p.m., drove home, made dinner, ate mechanically, sat on the couch, stared at nothing. My phone buzzed. Text from Linda. Darren was indicted. Are you satisfied? You've ruined his life. I didn't respond. Another text. He's going to lose his job. Brielle is going to leave him. He'll have a record forever, all because you couldn't forgive a mistake. Still didn't respond. I hope you can live with yourself. I turned the phone off, sat in silence, thought about Darren at 7 years old. Gap-toothed smile. Following me around, asking questions. Thought about Darren at 29, forging my signature, breaking into my storage locker, calling me an old man, 2 different people. Or maybe the same person. Just grown, changed, revealed. I didn't know if it mattered. Went to bed, lay there staring at the ceiling, eventually slept.